Hi, today I'm talking to Andy Yeomans, who is the founder and managing director of Grapefruit. Now, Grapefruit Graphics, as it was back then, started in 2003, so it's 17 years the business has been running. Andy, can you tell me a bit about how you first of all started up the business?
So coming up to our birthday now, 17 years old. So the company was started by myself and Jim Turner, who's very much an active professional sailor. He's currently with the American Magic, America's Cup team. And he basically came back from the America's Cup in New Zealand then. And yeah, both strong friends. Both have a strong interest in sailing and marine industry, and my strengths were for graphics. So we didn't really have anything to lose at the time, and we had a great network. And yeah, since we started it, it just went from strength to strength.
And what was the first project you undertook?
The very first one was a full hull wrap of a Rodman 42 for the Vice Admiral's Cup. And I remember trying to do it on my own, and luckily I had a few friends in the marina, and so yeah, I was able to draw on a few sailing mates in the marina to just give me a hand and hold one end of the vinyl as I was wrapping the other end. And it kind of went on like that for about a year until I actually had the courage to employ someone.
So quite a challenge for your first projects. And very early on, I was sailing 18-foot skiffs, and you did some graphics for our mainsail on that.
Yeah, was it three men in a boat type thing?
It was The Simpsons. It's actually one of the pictures on my wall in my office. We had Monty Burns, Homer Simpson, and Comic Book Guy on it, and you created those for us, which was great fun, I remember.
It wasn't difficult to match the characters to the people sailing the boats. So.
Yeah, thanks. And over the last 17 years, the company's grown beyond all recognition, and it's now, of course, you've got various people who can put the graphics on the different boats, create the graphics for you, and events have become the mainstay of your business. So which events have you been involved with?
Yeah, so I'd say certainly the first 10, 12 years of Grapefruit, it's purely been focused in the marine sector. The last 3 to 4 years, we've spread our wings out into a wider field of sporting events, from polo events, winter sports, and actually this year it would have been football and swimming. So yeah.
And so some of the other events that you've done, polo in the park, for example, a bit with Wimbledon, and with the sailing side, were you going to be doing Tokyo 2020?
Yeah, so this year was going to be an exceptionally busy year for us, and the first quarter was all about gearing ourselves, growing bigger in terms of our machinery and operations, to handle the Tokyo 2020 games branding, in addition to all the other sporting events which were closer to home in UK. It was great that we were going to host America's Cup World Series down in Southsea. Unfortunately, as hard as the event managers tried to get that to work, it was just simply not viable, and also not really politically correct going into the whole coronavirus situation, really.
And this is something where you've got a business which is based around events, yet in 2020, no events. But as someone who started their own business, I presume you've got that agility. You know how to adapt to business in times such as this, and with the COVID crisis, how have you changed what you do so that you can actually keep the business surviving?
Yeah, so I think like a lot of businesses, you kind of experience difficult patches where you have a downturn in business. But I don't think anyone has really experienced just a complete shut off of all their revenue streams. And I'd like to think that, over the years we have been pretty diverse, and we are able to be diverse because we do have printers, cutters, laminators. We've got the personnel in the team to deliver quite a broad brush range of different graphics. And our focus has been sports and events and the marine sectors, but that's not to say that we've never turned away van brandings or building office signage or even branding the whole elevation of buildings in London. So those areas we've kind of had to focus more on the off the wall type projects, and right now there is a requirement for social distancing communication in terms of graphics. So that is the main focus right now.
And who is your major client really right now as to providing these social distancing signage?
Well, proudly, one of our first customers was the NHS Solent Trust, where very, very rapidly they were building up effectively an army of medics, equipment, and with all that additional people, you've got to communicate to the team how they operate safely in a building. So NHS approached us about floor graphics, safety signage, and we were over the moon to help out. And since then it's kind of grown, and Matt in our creative side of the company is really designed quite a varied, wide range, different graphics to hopefully look after sort of every scenario in business.
And in the marine industry and within the yacht owners that we have sailing, many are entrepreneurs themselves and have their own businesses. Can they approach you to get the signage produced that they may need for their business?
Yeah, absolutely. We're doing graphics for every audience that we can open up to. The Grapefruit creative division are able to actually take a company logo, their own brand, and transplant it into the information graphics for social distancing. So we can create the graphics to blend into their own corporate identity.
And how about turnaround times for this? Because the economy is beginning to open up, and quite often business owners have had a lot to think about at the moment. The signage might be something that they're thinking, I need this ASAP, I need this pronto. Is this something you can do for them?
Yeah. So we've got 2 guys in production at the moment. The creative team are working from home and certainly putting the hours in day and night to meet demand. So from initial inquiry, we're probably looking at 2 working days to dispatch.
So a fantastic turnaround that business owners can use. And we are beginning to get boating opening up now. We're able to get out in the water. but clubs and marinas need the signage to remind people of their obligations with social distancing. And is this something you can provide as well?
Yeah, there's like with sailing clubs, organisations, they effectively have to be like the employer of a business, and it is their responsibility to safeguard the members on their premises, and give clear communication on how members can safely use, whether it's a sailing club or a marina. Even if you're employers at the moment, they're going through a phase of how can I bring my employees back into the offices and safeguard them. Sailing clubs and marinas can do exactly the same thing, and it's relatively easy, really.
And this is something where, because you've got the experience with outdoor events and branding in a marine environment, it must make a huge difference knowing what kind of product is suitable. Because outdoors, in the marinas and outside clubs, it's not exactly the most hospitable place for signage normally.
No, so we're used to dealing with windy, wet environments. And that's helped us stand out as an events company. So yeah, any outdoor branding has to kind of sustain quite a heavy beating. Last summer at Cows and the Sail GP showed testament to that, really. So a lot of the materials we use are a lot more technical than what other graphics companies would use. The non-skid floor graphics that we use for outside buildings, the clear non-skid which we laminate onto the graphics, that's normally used on the decks of boats and on passenger ferries on the steps. So yeah, we certainly got quite a deep channel of technical films that we have on hand.
And so you can provide the signage that's A, going to last, but secondly, especially with the non-skid surfaces, going to be safe wherever you put that signage if it's on a floor.
Yeah, I think that's important to note as well, that we're not looking at a temporary graphic just to open the doors and everyone to kind of move on in their lives and forget what we're trying to deal with here. A lot of the graphics we're producing are going to need to last for 12 months or more.
And this year, the event scene has been utterly decimated, and it looks like social distancing is going to be in for a while. But one thing we've really seen is sailors are a resourceful bunch. We've all been out virtual sailing. We've managed to get back out on the water really as soon as these social distancing measures have been reduced a bit. How do you see things returning in 2021?
Yeah, so I think it's absolutely fantastic that we're able to go sailing now, and yeah, getting out on the water is just a fabulous good feeling. So for mental well-being, it's a positive step forward. Where are we now? So we're coming up to June now. So in a normal sort of sailing season, you would anticipate that everyone's done the preparations on their boats and they're launched and they're now commencing that sailing season. You know, the 2 bank holidays in May are pretty much good benchmarks for that. So we've got June, July, August, and then you kind of then see a tail off of the sailing season starting to slow down in September. So we've still got 3 months where hopefully we can be busy in the marine business. but realistically, from an events point of view, it's looking next year now, really.
And do you see the sailing sector and the marine sector bouncing back strongly?
Yeah, yeah. I think that the resilience of the people involved in the marine industry will make sure that it bounces back fast.
Well, as you've shown here, Andy, you've got that agility, and you've shown straight away in a crisis that initially you look at and say, whoa, the event sector is gone. What do we do? You've shown exactly that in a marine business, showing that agility, going for the NHS Solent Trust, creating their signage, and there for clubs, marinas, businesses that require the signage. So all the best for the rest of 2020. For people out there, get in contact with the team if you need signage, and they'll be able to turn it around fast. Andy, many thanks indeed for your time, and stay safe.
Thanks, Mark.